Hi, I'm Rhett Power. It is good to be with you here on Power Lunch Live. This is a special edition. This is a story that I thought was very, very important, and I know we didn't promote the show today, but I am speaking with Nastya Baydachenko. She is the CEO of IAB in Ukraine, in Kiev, which is an NGO. And I thought it was very, very important that we have a conversation with Nastya today about what she is going through, what the people of the Ukraine are going through uh, as the invasion reaches, I think its 12th day, and
12.
and so I think this was just a really important conversation to have here on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Twitter to have you guys get a real sense of what's going on and talk to a real person and not some talking head on the news that's got an opinion about what's going on. But I wanted you to hear it from a real person. And Nastya is got a lot of things we want to talk about today. We want to talk about her safety and about what she's experienced the last few days, about the work that she does normally in Ukraine, but how that has changed and what she is working on now, which I think is actually really fascinating. Um, you know, Nastya, first off, let's talk about your safety and your bravery for coming on the program, because I know that it in a lot of ways this can put you at risk. And first off, why have you stayed in Kiev? What is your motivation for staying and staying in a place where you potentially can face life threatening? You're in a life threatening situation right now. So talk about that and what is your motivation for staying?
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Nastya from Kiev, and 12 days ago our life changed radically. All our plans and all scheduled things crashed because Russia invades Ukraine. And what is more specific, it is not a modern hybrid type of war. It's a kind of war which we have 50 or 60 years ago, very old school war. And actually, it is not safety. But Kiev now is not the most dangerous city because the most heavy bombarding is in Kharkiv. It's north east of Ukraine, and southern Kherson, Mariupol. Mariupol is a very serious situation with bombing, with missiles, with illegal weapons. And there is no green corridors for people to have water, food, or to bring them medical support. Why I stay in Kiev? I stayed not alone. I stayed with my parents and with three my kids. It's my position because Kiev is my home. I stay in my home. I find that there is a kind of shelter in my flat, very similar to mamad in Israeli. That is why we decided to stay in home and to keep kids with a portion of comfort, because a lot of our relatives, friends, they spend 5, 7, 10 days in shelters or in metro stations because it's the most available shelter in Ukraine, in Kiev. And most of them fled to Poland or Hungary or to the east, to the western Ukraine. And it is not easy time for Kiev. We have a special time. It's called Commandant Hour from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. All civil people should stay at home. And other time they should go with their passports in order that all police, military could check personality. As for supply, Kiev is also not bad situation. We okay across my fingers with electricity, with mobile connection, with what's more important, water, all communal city communications are okay. And the most tragedies we have in the South Ukraine, where because electricity was crushed, electricity supply was destroyed, and heating was destroyed, and water supply were destroyed. As for me, for today, Kiev, it's quite okay. We have no problem with food delivery, with water. There is also a free food supply for elderly people or someone incapable. Also, we have a lot of our local military teams. They had tasked to keep situation in Kiev under control. Sometimes it's strange because a lot of men with weapon on the cities. It's not typical for Kiev at all. Kiev is very tiny city and very comfort. And to see people with weapon and military uniform, it's a kind of stress because it's very unusual.
Yeah.
But a lot of Ukrainians stay in Kiev, stay in Ukraine because they want to fight. They don't want to give our land to Russia. Or we were in Soviet Union and we don't want back. We have bad experience with genocide, with starving, with a lot of a lot of dissidents were killed, and we don't want back. We will be fighting for our land, for our kids, for our future without any Soviet Union backups.
Yeah, I understand that very much, and I appreciate that. What is, where do you think that from you, because I find this remarkable in a lot of ways that you could have left, but you decided that you wanted to stay. Where does that courage come from? Because it is courage, and you put it aside and said, I wanted to stay in my home and I wanted to, I wanted to be here with my parents. But it is courage, and it is being brave, and it is being strong. Where do you get that inner strength from, do you think? Where do you get that inner courage? Because this is, I know how scary this is. I've lived in a war zone before, and I know that the pressure, there is a, you live with that constant fear in the back of your mind. Yes, you have to go through your daily things like eat and cook food and do the normal things that you have to do, but it is in the back of your mind, and so how do you deal with that, and where does that strength come from in you?
Oh, it's difficult questions because I think that courage or braveness is very difficult to understand it with ratio. Because courage it's more about emotions. It's about feeling. If I feel courage, I feel I could stay here. I feel I manage with all the things. It is difficult really to cut all this, understand and analyze with ratio, because actually through the ratio lens it seems like I'm crazy. um, but I'm not, and actually I have strong faith that everything will be okay with my country and with me too, and with my kids, and it's a kind of faith. It will be difficult to find another words and another than faith. I have faith that everything will be okay, and we build every damaged building, we plant every damaged tree, and make our great cities like Kharkiv, which is almost destroyed, great again, and built again from ruins. Mariupol, Kherson, a lot of cities, and unfortunately a lot of culture monuments. Already a lot of churches, cathedrals are damaged, and even which is very wild for me. Even Holocaust Memorial in Babi Yar was damaged, and a lot of city infrastructure, a lot of communications, electricity stations, and so on. But I have actually strong faith that we everything will recover. We rebuild everything, and everything will be okay with our country.
You know what is to me really upset. One of the things that's of many things that's upsetting is that when you go after cultural heritage, I mean that is a war crime. I mean that is against international law.
Yeah.
To attack cultural heritage, and I mean we've seen that done in other conflicts, but it is against international law, and it is just wrong on so many levels. Tell me about how you mentioned your children. How are your children coping with this?
Oh, my children are 16, 14, and 4.5 years old. And I can see that elder girls, they understand the situation, and even the youngest is the boy. I think he understands why we stay in flat, why we don't go and have play to the street, because we have such. He understands what country attacked Ukraine. He asked when they go home.
Mm-hmm.
I could say that they have for sure a kind of stress and a kind of trauma, but for this time maybe not so severe because yes, we have a night air attack, but it's not the same situation when in Mariupol they have every hour prohibited Grads, Smerch, and other missiles which are illegal, completely illegal, which are make very very disastrous and strange and awful noises. And for kids, I think this truly unbearable. Here, Kiev is relatively I'm sorry, relatively more safe. I think all of my kids and a lot of kids in Ukraine, they should, after all this will end, go to therapy because all of them in what part of Ukraine they are, they should have therapy because of post-traumatic syndrome. It could be strong or weak or something in between, but all of them need such a therapy. I'm sure about it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think this is going to be a long-term process, right? And so there's there's what you're talking about, sort of in the immediate sense, and then there's I think this conflict is going to take a long time to resolve itself, and so I mean we're talking about years of trying to help young people cope with the aftermath of this because it is completely disrupting their lives, right? In terms of schooling and everything else, and socialization and everything that kids really need to develop. Now, what I want to turn a little bit towards your work and how your work has changed dramatically in the last couple of weeks. You run an NGO that is an alliance of advertisers, and so you're in the marketing space, you're in the messaging space, you understand all this, and a lot of your work. You were talking about before we came on how your work is I think, if I understood it correctly, to help try to get the proper information to Russian citizens and Belarusians to tell them about what's really going on. And I think that is so powerful and so needed, because my view, and it's just a layman's view, is that uh, that Russians and Belarusians need to know what's happening. They need to know the truth of what their governments are doing, and they also need that to an extent they're going to play a large role in making these changes and helping stop this war. Talk about that work a little bit, if you feel comfortable doing that, and not putting yourself in any more danger than you already are. Talk about that a little bit, and how important that is.
Yeah, definitely. We have plans for this year in December. So we plan almost every month. We have a great project on digital professional certification, digital agencies rating. So which is normal routine for our day-to-day work. But and I can say we have more than 30 projects planned for this year. But 12 days ago, everything changed dramatically, and we just keep on hold all our planned activity and focused only on special communication campaign, which was targeted to Russian people, to Belarus people, and to European people, with different messages. First of all, we tried to bring full information to Russia, because Russia is a country with strict government control. They have a special government organization that could ban any site and any media, and they also have governmentally controlled search engine Yandex. It calls also very specific availability of information to the Russian people. And a lot of us here in Ukraine have relatives in Russia, and we easily understand that they have very specific point of view, because their TV channels speak so, because they have special media controlled by government, and so on. Most of them doesn't understand that soldiers were sent not to military study or training. They were sent to war in Ukraine, and we tried to send them these messages that there is actual war. To the soldiers' moms, that your sons are not on military training or something like that. They are on real war. We also try to deliver number of losses, because it is very, very low in Russian announces. Now it's 11,000 losses in people. But Russia announced something about 500 or 600. It's drastic difference. So we communicate real situation with losses. We communicate real situations with it's not a special operation, it's war, and we show what is in Kharkiv after air attack. We show a photo of Kherson after all this attack, photo of Mariupol, evacuation from Irpin, it's satellite cities around Kiev, and situation is for now very dangerous, because people are almost in prison in their homes, with no delivery for food, electricity, and so on. It's almost people disaster. It's humanitarian disaster, and there is no possibility to negotiate any green corridor for evacuation. And it's not that our party doesn't want. It's because Russian started every time green corridor was negotiated, Russians start the attack. And a lot of civilians were killed during evacuations, which is which is actually dreadful. And we lost 38 children and 71 child was wounded. It's fresh statistics, tragic statistic, I can say. So we tried to all this information to bring to Russia. Also, our second target audience was our Belarusian neighbors, and we informed them about about our actual state of Ukrainian armed force and how effectively we deal with Russians. And ask Belarus do not go in this war. And also we communicate with European Union with two messages. First messages, we asked for a non-fly sky because any Earth military operation, our armed force done with 5 stars, but our civils suffer from air attacks, from military planes, from special missiles, and our air defense. They do their best, but our air defense is not so modern as, for example, in Israel. That is why we need so much no-fly zone over Ukraine. I know that it's very difficult politic decision because when NATO will close sky above Ukraine, it means possibility of attack between NATO and Russia, and I understand that no one wants it. But our losses of civil people and moreover losses of kids, it's 38 kids already dead because of such attacks. That is why we do not stop and we appeal more and more about no-fly zone. Our second target is to get humanitarian support because Russians bring huge damages to our economics and culture, because they also destroyed a lot of monuments, and we need a lot of funds to rebuild, to make renewment, to build again all this everything that were destroyed. So our second message is to promote a special account of National Bank of Ukraine for humanitarian support. So it's the main 3 ways of our activity: to the Russian Federation, to the Belarus, and to the European Union. We try to unite our members as IAB Ukraine, and it's not only unique initiative in Ukraine. I think there is 4 or 5 separate initiatives with the same messages, and it's okay that we are acting separately. We have different creative materials, and I think it's also good that there are a lot of activists and a lot of donors, because all this advertising activity is paid by our businesses, by interactive digital businesses. Owners just decided to put to invest money in this campaign, and I'm so grateful to them for this, because our businesses will have losses this year. We have a normal January and almost normal February, but I think it will be not good year in terms of financial result, in terms of P&L. So we understand that we invest our money, maybe profits from the previous year, in order to deliver information, in order to finish this war as soon as possible, in every possible way, I think.
Right. Well, I think right now everybody's got a responsibility to chip in, right, and to do everything that they can, and profits and losses at this stage don't matter. It's a matter of survival
Yeah.
and winning and winning the message, because that international support is going to be so critical to that rebuilding process. And you can't let people forget what has happened in Ukraine. If you feel comfortable disclosing um, your methods here, I don't want you to do that if you feel like it's something that Russia or Belarus could try to stop you from doing. How are you getting the messages to these messages to Russians and to Belarus? How are you getting the messages through? How are you getting this information to that audience?
Uh, Simply, we use Google and YouTube possibilities.
Uh-huh.
And Russia informs that from uh, from 18th of 18 or no no from 10 or uh, in a few days, just I don't remember exactly the date. In a few days, they closed all external websites. It means that we should find any other solution as GDN or YouTube, because
Mm-hmm.
it will be impossible to communicate. As for Belarus and European Union, there is no restrictions, and you could use a lot of network, because we doesn't we do not speak about something illegal. We just inform as is. We don't show blood. We don't show wounded people. We give statistics. We give information, or we ask for for no-fly zone. It's legal advertising. It's legal communication. But
Is there a way to do it through, like, going forward? Is there a way to do it through email and texting on the phones? Is there a way to do it that way?
not email. We use possibility of Google advertising. So it's Google AdWords, and we use all possibility to deliver a very legal message, because it's almost impossible to communicate through Google system anything illegal. So it is possible to inform that there is so. But actually, our team think about what to do with Russia, because it seems very soon it will be very similar to Northern Korea. Everything is prohibited, everything is closed, everything is under control. Every thought or word different from governmental position will cost from 8 to 15 years imprisonment. And it is very difficult to find something alternative way to communicate, because we should understand that we have very specific target audience, people for a very long time, for many years, receive information from government controlled information, and even such media they could call it as opposition media or independent. It's quasi-independent, and it's very relatively opposition media. All of them are media that government prefer to have as controlled opposition or controlled independent media.
Right.
That's a problem, because day after day, year after year, it brings uh, very uh, bad and dangerous impact on people's heads, on people's brain and way of thinking. And it brings very destructive face to every word from government. Uh, it seems that the government became something similar to church in Middle Ages. People just trust. There is no critical thinking. And such target audience is very difficult to communicate. When they see the real losses, they don't think, oh, maybe my government speak not truth. They think, oh, it's fake. Its problem actually, I don't know magic solution for it for now, but we need and they need, Russians need a lot of time to rebuild critical thinking in their heads and to start ask for information from other points of view, not only consummate or information given by government.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in terms of trying to find ways to get to the Russian and Belarus markets, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me. We have a bunch of creative people here that I work with that would love a challenge of trying to find a way to reach that market. So I'm happy to sort of offer that assistance in terms of maybe some new methods that you could use. I do want to say, I hope you stay safe. I would love to check in with you later in the week to see how you're doing and to see if things have changed. Before we go, I will say that we've got a lot of comments today. We've got comments of support from Vietnam, from England, from France, lots here in the U.S. And so I know people are out there, they're listening, and they're taking your message to heart. And I would say to anybody out there, if there's a question, I've got one more question for Nastya, but if you have any questions for Nastya, please write them in the chat. And I'm happy to ask. We haven't covered everything I'd love to cover, but I've kept her on the phone for 30 minutes today already. So Nastya, what is and how can people help? We were talking about that before we came on, and you had said, and we were talking about how we need the money to go to the right places, so that the aid gets to people and it gets in the right hands, so that people aren't. There's so many ways that people can be scammed nowadays. But you were talking about your work and some of the work that the government is doing. Talk about how people can get involved and how they can help.
Okay, our government launch two accounts. One is for armed force support and one for humanitarian support. As far as I understand, it's not easy or sometimes legal, for example, in a European country to support account for armed force, because it's like to give money to foreign army. But account for humanitarian needs, for humanitarian support is absolutely acceptable. For example, for European people, I speak a lot with our European branches. So the best way to help is to donate money to the humanitarian support account. It's official, it's our National Bank of Ukraine. And it means that this amount of money will be spent on humanitarian needs, for food, for clothes, for accommodation, and so on, for people who suffer from war. It's very important, if possible, to donate money for this account, because a lot of people lost their homes, they lost their houses, their flats, or all they have. A lot of fled just with their pajamas or something like that. They keep their children, hand back and go to Poland or to Western Ukraine or to Hungary and so on. It means that these people will need everything from toothbrush to jeans, on to sweatshirt, or elementary basic needs. And our government, and for example, our Kiev authority do their best and try to support all people, and single people and elderly people and people with special needs. And actually, few weeks after, all Ukraine needs such support, because the last statistic is that more than 1,020,000 people fled from their homes. It's a great damage to our country and to our people, and I ask your support in order to provide them with basic necessary needs, such as food, diapers for their kids, basic clothes, water, and so on. And also medicines and healthcare needs also will be funded from this account for humanitarian needs. So if you feel in your heart that you want to donate any sum of money, I ask you to use account of for humanitarian needs. I send it to Rhett, and I hope he will share with you with this account.
Yeah, we'll post it right after this in the chat, so that people can take a look at that and do what they can. And I was serious, Dean and John. Thank you, and Noi Ha for jumping in and joining the conversation today, and Marika. I know that, again, I want to make that offer because I think that there are a lot of people that are probably willing to help you with the messaging and trying to get that message to Russia and to Belarus to help turn the tide of this conflict. Thank you so much. You are incredibly brave, and just you're courageous, and I applaud what you're doing. So, look, let's catch up and let's check in again later this week if you are okay with that, because I'd like to hear more about what you're going through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nastya. And hold on just a second. We're gonna shut the live feed off, but then I wanted to chat with you for just a second. So hold on just a sec, okay? And thank you guys for being here today. This is a sort of precedented show, but it is important. This is we're going to dedicate some time to it over the next few weeks as this unfolds and as things develop in Ukraine. We're going to keep the focus of this show on that issue for right now, and so look out for some more show times and conversations that I plan to have over the next few weeks. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.